What's going on, guys? Welcome to our weekly prep. So let's just get right into it. So, the main focus this week, what happened over the weekend, is pretty much what we're going to pay attention to because this could lead for actual direction throughout the rest of the week, right? Because we could see that the focus was right now between China and the US headlines on tariffs. So, just to go to the market update, right? We could just see right there that the headlines that we got so far was very optimistic. And China, right? We want to see some more headlines with China, but both sides to agree on establish China and U.S. trade wars. This is very optimistic when it comes to tariffs, right? So, with these headlines coming out, this is why it is best to focus on this direction where we could just see if we see that the headlines come out positive and continue to have optimism with these tariffs. We're going to see strong pairs within AUD. We're going to see AUD, NZD, and CAD get stronger along with US equities and the US dollar. Oil is also going to be stronger as well. And then watch for the weaker pairs like the yen and the Swiss and most likely gold, right? But the only thing that could mess up these reactions is if we see that a China, most likely China, will come out with a headline saying something negative, like, "Oh, this is not true. We haven't negotiated anything yet. We're still in talks." Like any procrastination or any negative headline, we'll probably start seeing the opposite. That will probably lead to equity sells. We're going to see gold buys. We're going to see the yen and the Swiss stronger. The dollar is going to get weaker, right? Oil will get weaker. So that would happen if we see any negative headlines. So that's something that we have to focus on moving forward, right? Just in case if those headlines come out, you want to be able to take advantage of it. So this is a little update for earnings. Central bank speakers this week. We do have on the 12th, we have the Bank of England speakers coming out, which is important. After the rate decision, it's good to get their perspective on interest rates. And then on the 13th, we got more Bank of England speakers. For the Feds, not really that big with Fed speakers. Most like on the 15th, that's when most of them, pretty 15th or 16th, where they're all coming out for the Federal Reserve speakers, and sometimes they could come out unannounced, but we just have to be prepared for it. Okay, so just whatever happened last week, the focus was how was these headlines going to come out over the weekend. We pretty much got an idea of it already, so we see that it's causing gold to push lower, dollar strength, equities again strength. So now we just have to continue to focus on that leading to Monday, right? Because we could possibly see some more headlines when it comes to that moving forward. So this week we do have important data, right? So Tuesday, UK labor data, and we also have US inflation. So London session, UK labor data, we're going to focus on that. And then New York session, we're going to have CPI, which is definitely a main focus for the Federal Reserve. Then an Asian session, we have Australia's wage data. So that's inflationary as well. Wednesday, pretty quiet, but we do have Asian session labor data, unemployment, right? So that's going to be a big focus. Thursday, pretty heavy day, New York session, US PPI that is inflationary with retail sales and unemployment. And also, Federal Reserve Jerome Powell speaks during that day too. So markets may react to the data, or it's going to wait to see what Jerome Powell says. It's important to focus on what Powell say because he could actually come out and even though we just had a rate decision, and he gave us that hawkish pause tone, right? Nothing changed, but he could still come out and confirm, give the markets expectations of additional rate cuts. And that is a possibility, right? So nothing happened yet, but Tuesday's CPI, and then if he most likely is going to speak after the data. And when he speaks after the data on Thursday, right, it's a possibility he could actually say something leading towards the markets, expecting more rate cuts, right? So we just have to be aware of that just in case. Friday, we do have Michigan inflation data, which we usually get mostly every Friday. So that's what we're going to focus on. Okay. So headlines that came out so far, yeah, it was a lot, but it was just keeping up with them, and I think we did a good job. So uh, let me see the most recent ones. Yeah, we could just see right here. China says that trade discussions were constructive, and Yeah, they made significant progress. So that's that's definitely what we wanted to hear, right? But the problem right now is Asian session. During the market open, as you could look at gold, we could already see that gold prices already, markets did what we expected it to do. As soon as it opened, gold pushed lower, equities to the right, you can see it pushed higher, right? We got that reaction. Open dollar pushed higher. So let me just check commodities real quick. Yeah, so oil gapped higher, which is a good sign. So as of now, right, we see iron ore pushing up. So the fact that it is 8 o'clock, I would probably say like what we could do, like if we're trading gold, right? We could possibly wait until I would say wait until probably 9, right? If we could get that reaction, I would like to see if we could push higher, right? Look for additional sales to come in place. That could be a possibility. Or we want to see some bit of consolidation form. And then once we break below structure, that's probably going to be the opportunity to look for additional sales once we start breaking below. Uh, I want to see an order block form, but right now, as it can see, as clear as day, is 32.72. If we break below that area support, that could give us some more downside. If we could break below 32.79, we could possibly see that push to that area support as well for continuations. But I want to see an order block. I want to see some more sideways price action first before we make a decision to push lower. Okay. And what we need to see also is the markets act as one. We want to see gold push lower. We also want to see the dollar continue to push higher, right? We want to see a risk on market. So in the currency chart, we want to see AUD gain strength along with NZD and CAD. That's a possibility. And we want to see the safe haven, the yen, and the Swiss get weaker just to give us that extra confirm, right? And then we want to see equities continue to push higher or just not be as bearish. And when we get those reactions, I think that's going to be the opportunity that we could take advantage of, right? Because also what we want to look at too, like because if we get a weaker yen, yeah, like GJ already broke down. I was just trying to say this too. But even a pair like GJ, right? And I'll get the AUD in a minute. But once we start breaking above 94.0, that's going to lead to safer buys pushing up higher. Or if we could push lower to 93.5, form an area support, then look for additional upside into that reaction as well, probably heading towards London session. If we could get a weaker yen, okay, that's a good opportunity too. And I think another good pair would be probably AUD JPY, right? Same price action as you could just see so far. All the yen pairs pretty much doing the same. Either we could get a push lower and then we look for additional upside, or once we start breaking above 93.90, we could definitely look for some upside pushing there as well. So AUD is going to be one of the focuses this week as well, because if when we have economic data coming out for like Australia's labor data and we see wages, if those numbers come out if those numbers come out higher, that's additional reasons for us to take advantage of strength. But as a risk pair as well, if we get a risk on market, we'll be looking for more upside in AUD. Okay, so AUD might be a good focus for this week, just to give you guys an idea for it as well. Looking at the dollar, right? It's a possibility that dollar could also be a good pair. I want to see dollar. I want to see dollar push higher because dollar is going to be tricky because with the optimism, it could cause the dollar to push a little higher. But then we also have to realize dollar is a safe haven currency as well. So if we see in a risk on market, dollar is pushing lower, then most likely that's happening because of risk sentiment. But if we see that the dollar is pushing higher during a risk on market, then we know that the dollar is reacting to the optimism. That would lead to better buys, if we could see those reactions. And then I would think that taking advantage of a pair like USD JPY would be a good opportunity. As we can see, same price action like the rest. But taking buys on USD JPY, if we could see a stronger dollar and a weaker yen, to me would be one of the best opportunities for this week as well. All right, so something that we could focus on. Now, Just looking at equities, try to see if I had an equities chart because bam, bam, bam. Where's you equities here? Yeah, so we could already see at market open, equities did push higher, like S&P, Nasdaq. We could see all those pairs push higher. So I don't like trading equities over London and Asian session, but just something to pay attention to. It'll be great to see some sort of a pullback first before we see continuations. This is the direction I would like to see this pair go in. If we get some sort of a pullback, then get some continuations, or if we start breaking above those highs, to me, that would be the safer opportunity once we can see some strength coming in place. All right. But as you can see so far, everything is turning red. Market's just open, just give it time. Maybe around 8, like 9:30, 9 o'clock usually. Let's see if we get a risk on market in general. Then we could take advantage of those directions. But maybe over London could be a good opportunity, or markets could probably be waiting until New York session, right? Because stock markets is not open right now. There's not even pre-market, so it's a possibility markets might wait until the markets might wait until New York session. But regardless of what happens, right, we should see the direction follow. Like, right, we should see weaker gold, stronger dollar, stronger equities. When it comes to currency pairs, right, you just want to focus on a risk on market. AUD should be stronger, NZD should be stronger, CAD should be stronger. Dollar, it depends. But if the dollar is stronger, we want to see weaker yen and we want to see a weaker Swiss, right? And that will probably set the tone. We want to possibly see pound gain strength as well. That will probably set the tone for the week. Okay, so if we could catch those opportunities soon, it'll be a good payday. But we've seen market optimism, so it's giving us a direction. So now we just have to try to find tradable opportunities within that direction. All right, guys. So have a good one, and I'll see you guys later, and I'll see you guys in the chats.